Why, hello everyone, and welcome back to The Anime Club. I'm Nick Knack. With me is the great Lord Vorn.
Hello.
Realm Shifter.
Is the Doom music kicking in yet?
And this week we watched Goblin Slayer.
Bitch! I don't think... Did you look at me while you were doing that intro?
No.
I was sitting here behind you.
This is segment.
So I was mouthing the words, right? And I went to say, and Seki. And then he forgot me.
I didn't forget.
Absolute cunt.
So, before we start anything, I do want to bring up, there's a subject in this anime that is not very, it's not for the faint of heart, and I don't want to say it by name.
No, but I can basically repeat what the anime put as a disclaimer on every single time. There are topics and actions taken during this anime that may be triggering for some people. There's also violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes.
Yeah.
And going forward, as I don't want to say the R word on the on YouTube, we're going to call it Goblin No-No.
Yes.
Yes.
Goblin no.
All right, so thoughts, Realm Shifter.
Well, I mean, I honestly forgot that back when the whole Goblin no fiasco began with it, that I forgot that this scene got edited so that way it didn't include such details anymore. Like, such details were heavily toned down, if not just outright removed from the episode in and of itself.
That's actually horrifying. I'm sorry, I just had to.
Yeah. So yeah, those things were they were taken out slightly. So
I thought it was just that they put the disclaimer in front after the fiasco.
no, like they actively removed, at least when I watched it, that scene was actively out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you see it?
No, because when we watch it, we don't actually see it happening in episode 1. They allude to it, and then the screen blacks out and slides away. So I think what he's saying is in the original, it didn't black out and slide away to a different scene. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically they kind of cut out that whole little scene in the initial first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Probably for the best, though.
Yeah, for the most part, but yeah.
So, thoughts, approve, disapprove?
I mean, okay. Putting aside that whole deal, I would say overall, I approve this show. I like its themes, the characters, and some of the other general topics that we'll get into as we go along. That does not involve Goblin no-nos.
All right.
Vorn.
I like this. This is my second time watching, so some of the enjoyment has weared off a little bit, as it always does whenever you're rewatching something like this. But I definitely do agree with Realm that the Goblin no scene definitely had to go. So yeah, and this is proof.
I'd like to go last this time, giving my opinion, because I think I have the most divisive opinion.
Okay.
So let's go to you next, Nick Knack.
I quite enjoyed the show. I think my major problem with it is the Goblin no stuff. But when I move past that, I do see that the author of this had a genuine love for fantasy, and just in general, I guess anime as well. I think Seki found some stuff that I didn't know about before, and even watching it, there's some obvious stuff and allusions to things like D&D, Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit.
Fate?
I actually didn't catch that in my watch through when I came up with this opinion. So, yeah, no, I absolutely approve the show, but man, it was hard too with the Goblin no stuff in there. It edged that.
So I actually sat down earlier before we started recording and discussed this with Nick Knack because I was really conflicted. The problem is I like pretty much every character unequivocally except for Goblin Slayer, which I have a few issues with at times, right? But he's generally redeemed in the last 2 episodes, in my opinion. But I do genuinely love so many of the characters, and especially the side characters who they aren't always journeying with. I think some of them are incredibly fun. And it was really hard watching that first episode and then continuing and not just thinking back. to that first episode every time. I actually kept a tally in my notes when I was watching of how many episodes that the Goblin no-no is either mentioned in or explicitly occurs. And the total ended up being 7 of 12. So in over half the episodes of this show, they mention or show Goblin no-no. Which in my opinion was incredibly distasteful after a certain point. Like, I understand doing it once or twice to make the emphasis, but it became hard for me after, like, looking back on the show to kind of pull that out and decide whether or not I liked the story and the characters enough for me to be able to say I would give this show an approval. And I do give it an approval, but it's based on the fact that the references to other shows that I caught were absolutely amazing. I liked a lot of the characters, especially as they developed. And in my opinion, the last arc, the final 2 episodes, was an absolute gem. I thought that was maybe the best and most tasteful 2 episodes of the entire season. So it's an approval from me, but it is still hard to look back on the show without automatically having Goblin no-no come to mind. Especially because the few times where it is explicitly shown, it's not, even though it's censored, it's still there. Which then brings me to the topic, you showed Goblin no-no, but you won't draw nipples in a pussy?
This is a TV broadcast.
No, but there are no nipples in any of the scenes, but there's Goblin no-no, like, shown.
Come on, even Redo of a Healer got this right.
No, because you know what the best part is? The one time that we do say female nipples, it's on the Sword Maiden when her clothes are on and they're poking through. But not when she's naked.
I forgot about that.
I'm so like. Okay, I approve the show with some caveats, obviously, towards harsh topics, and I definitely think that if the Goblin no-no is a trigger for you, this is absolutely not the show to watch. Like, don't start it, don't look at it. Unless you are completely okay with seeing it happen and talking about it. But other than that, I approve it. I like the references. I love some of the characters. I'm going to go really in on characters later. And especially that final 2 episode arc.
Alright, well, I think that's all. I'm Nick Mack, and I just tricked 3 people into saying Goblin no-no.